Sarah Ann just said we're live.
Oh, there we go. Hey, everybody. This is Josh Currivan with Currivan Green Company, and welcome to the next episode of the Pro Networking Series, where we're talking about have a YouTube channel business. Today, we have Brad, Garrett, Mark, and Jake. These guys combined on YouTube have over 300,000 followers. A lot of that is thanks to Brad there. These guys creative process. They know the backdoor tactics that you need to really create videos and gain followers. So I guess we're going to kind of just go through the steps of asking questions. I don't know much about YouTube myself. On you guys to really fill in the voids there. So I guess I'll start. Brad, I'll start with you because on my screen you're the first one. How did you get started in YouTube? Like, how did it come? Did you have the YouTube channel first and the lawn care business, or lawn care and then YouTube?
I started my lawn care business January 2017, and the channel came April 2017. So just a couple months after I decided to start the channel.
Garrett at GM Outdoor Services. I'm new with Garrett, but I follow him on Instagram. I really love the work ethic between him and his family. Garrett was one of my picks to come on here. So Garrett, as far as social media and YouTube, how did you get the start? I know we just talked before we went off. You guys have been in it for 4 years. So how did it start for you?
So honestly, I didn't really have it growing up. I wasn't even on Instagram until a few years ago, and Facebook like a year and a half ago or so. I basically just got going, and like I really love what I do. So every day, like I have like 26,000 pictures on my phone. So every day I'm taking pictures and videos of what I do. I like looking back at it. I would tell the guys, whenever we do a job, like a month later, all we really have is, pictures on our phone that we can see. So I really like looking back. So I just always been a picture video guy. I've never been too nervous to being on camera or anything. So I've always just done it a lot. And then I basically just seen started hearing about, Facebook, Instagram. I always watched YouTube videos, and I thought, well, why not try it out? So I got Instagram. Marlena does a lot of that. I make the stories. She makes the posts and whatnot. Obviously, I do the YouTube. And I just thought, well, try it out, see what happens. And it's been pretty good. It's seems like it's always steadily growing, steadily meeting new people, which has been really good.
For sure. And the OG that we have in the house, Mark Thomas. Your YouTube, I couldn't even finish watching. You have a ton. I know you're a little different outside of the lawn care and landscape aspect. I believe you're. How did you get started in doing the tool reviews and your YouTube channel and everything?
Just give you a little backstory. Most of my career, I've been a home builder in a family business and licensed. My dad and I are both licensed home builders in Michigan. And then around 2012, we specialized in prefab homes. So we went all over Michigan, not just in our local area. So we had a home that we demolished and built a new one in place of it. So we were starting to specialize in what I call extreme home makeovers. So like around 2012, when things were really starting to slow down, Michigan was getting hit pretty hard with foreclosed homes. I was thinking of different ways to promote the business through the website, and I was leaving that morning to go demolish a house, and I thought, well, I better go grab my camera. In 2012, we didn't have really good camera phones at the time, so I made a video, like a 3.5-minute video of a home being demolished in about 3 minutes. A big excavator, the claws just ripping through the roof. And that video pretty much went viral, and that just inspired me to start making more. And I put that on my website. And so it was kind of because of that reason. And then the home business came to a stop. And then I did lawn care for about 6 years. And then my most popular video is backpack blowers, comparison between 3 different backpack blowers. And that's still my most popular video to date. So that kind of really helped me get my foot in the door with social media in the green industry.
All right. And last but not least, Jake the Lawn Kid. You seem to be the up and coming YouTube celebrity. How'd you get your start?
So real quick, little context, everybody. My name is Jacob Sullivan, and I run the YouTube channel Jake the Lawn Kid. So a little flashback on how it all started. It started with the idea of building a little neighborhood lawn business, right? And at the time, it was 2014. It was the summer of 2014, and I was neighbors with one of the biggest guys in lawn care YouTube, and that is Alan Haim, the Lawn Care Nuts. So being able to grow up with that influence next door to me for a while has clearly impacted me and drove me to start my own YouTube channel, and I did. And the idea of what my YouTube channel was going to be primarily was just going to be like a fourth wall breaker, if you will, for my lawn care business, where basically what I would do is talk about what services we were doing and why. Sum it up just to give a little behind the scenes glimpse of the services we were doing for our customers. And they liked that. That worked for the first couple of months that we were doing it. Now, as I was doing the YouTube channel more and more and time went on, I started to realize, man, I really enjoy doing this much more than just making little educational shorts for my business. I might as well turn this into something where I can share pretty much anything I know about lawn care, whether it's me sitting at a desk here and teaching you guys about grub worms in the lawn, or teaching you guys how to fertilize your lawn, or just taking you guys around and showing you my lawn care business, right? The idea is it's just me and what I'm doing in the lawns and my expertise. So that is how my YouTube channel started, and that is what we are doing now.
Dude, with your energy and confidence, I like, if you don't have a career in DJing or doing something with EMB video you did a while ago, and I just couldn't believe the energy you put off with that. So kudos, you're built for it. I'm going to ask a couple of questions to just come off the top, because again, I don't know. I have reservations about why guys do it, how they have the time to do it. You guys are all in the business. You guys are all entrepreneurs. Do you find a benefit taking the time out of your schedule to produce content? Because I'm sure this content takes a long time. The business side of it, where you're actually gaining customers, whether they're commercial, industrial, residential. Are you seeing any feedback from anybody, clients? You guys can jump in whenever you want here.
Okay, I would like to go ahead and take this one for sure. One of the biggest returns that I've seen, aside from actually doing the YouTube videos and growing a following in my own business, is social proof, right? I think social proof is one of the most important things in 2021, as everybody's not only looking to call a lawn care business, but they're really looking to find that particular lawn care service that everyone's talking about online. So me, for instance, it's Instagram. Now, I'm not going to go into my whole thing with Instagram of how I like to match all my photos and edit them a certain way and, match them a certain way on a photo grid. But more so, the idea is just being on Instagram, being present on all of those social media platforms, and developing a presence and showing more of my personality that the customers can then attach to the guy in the neighborhood who's taking it over slowly with the lawn mowing service. So that is how I would look at it. Regardless of the amount of time you put into it, it pays off.
Anybody else want to jump in? Mark?
It's been a few years now that I've been doing extreme home makeovers, but as I was mentioning, that was making a video and titling it where, oh, there's my dog, where it would come up in search in Michigan, demolishing homes, doing like a prefab type home. There weren't many people doing that. So it really helped when people were searching, having my state, and then also showing my service. And then I did like a follow-up video, like a before and a after, so you could see like the next home that I did, what it looked like in a short amount of time. So it's also, I think it's a great way when somebody's asking you about it, you can say, well, if you want to go and check my website, you can see what other people have done. And if people see the confidence that somebody else has done something and went with you and they're happy, then it gives them the confidence to go with you.
I agree with that 100%.
No, I just want to back up. In your specific industry, do you have like engineers or GCs reaching out to you still with content up there, even if it's for tool reviews and they see Mark Thomas builder? Do you have people that reach out now to maybe fab new homes or anything like that based off the content that you've been producing?
Yeah, I still get some things. It's actually more from Facebook. I haven't taken that page down yet. My plan was to just take a pause and now the industry's or the home industry in Michigan is doing really well. The real estate market's, exploding. But my specific niche in the industry of prefab homes, that kind of really went away, and that's what I specialized in. And I didn't go into like doing remodel work or getting into other like stick-built housing. So I had another job opportunity that came my way. So I've been doing a lot of different things, and I started working with Home Depot as well on part-time through YouTube. So been juggling a lot of different things, trying to figure out what works best for me. But my goal, I still have my builder's license, is to get back into doing some more of that again.
Touch base later on that Home Depot collab you got going on. But Garrett, I know you guys do some heavy duty work. You're not just necessarily in the lawn care app. The same to your Instagram presence and your YouTube feed one another. But are you seeing feedback from industrial, residential, commercial with what you offer and services from the content you're producing?
Yeah, it's kind of funny actually. The job we're on right now, the job I've been going 4 or 5 days, and I went there to check on the guys who they're doing. I walked up there and the customer came out and he's like, "Hey Garrett, how's it going?" I'm like, "Oh, it's going good." He's like, "You're only 21?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "I don't know how you know that, but apparently you follow me on social media." He's like, "Yep, I do." So like it's been really big. It seems like every day it's more and more known. Like guys will see our guys out working, send me stories and stuff, or they'll go up and talk to him. Like it's been, to get locally known, it's been really good. Like I've had a lot of good feedback and a lot of good, gotten a fair amount of work from it. It's been a really good return. I wouldn't not want to do it at this point. I am monetized. I started monetization about 6 months ago. I get a deposit to my account, about $100, $150 every month. So I'm making a little bit from it, which is nice. But it's been a really good return. I wouldn't want to not do it. And it's fun. I mean, I grab a camera, film 10, 15 minutes on a job here or there, whatever we're doing that day. Spend an hour on iMovie and upload it. Like it's nothing super fancy.
Brad, you're in like TV commercials and stuff now, so I'm sure you're getting feedback. But how does it work for you? I know when we met back originally in the second class of the UAD group, you were still building the business, but you had, your YouTube presence was unbelievable. I mean, that's what engaged me into YouTube, was the way that you created your content and how you spoke. Now, how has it helped you down in Florida with your customer reach?
So my experience is going to be completely opposite from all these guys. And I think a big part of it is where you live and what services you're offering. So like somebody who wants the nicest lawn, that's going to be a good fit for Jake and they're willing to pay for it. Somebody who wants a big construction project, that's great. Where I live, it's real rural. So lawn care is just seen as a chore. It's not something that people want to dump a lot of money into. So I can confidently say, over the 4 years I've been doing this, I've probably gotten two leads from local people who have seen my things. So I don't really get any business from it. And initially when I started, I said, well, this will be a portfolio. So my YouTube channel, I can say, just like Mark was saying, hey, Mr. Henderson, here's what I did for Jim, your neighbor down the street. Let me send you this. But I don't really do detailed landscape installs or hardscaping or landscape. I don't do the things where there's a lot of money and where people really want that social proof. Around here, people don't care who cuts their grass as long as they get it done. So I haven't seen a ton of business locally come from it.
Jake, question for you.
Fire away.
What goes into the process of creating the content? So you're out in the field, you're working, you're hauling ass. You got to go home. Is it 6 hours of editing and cutting to produce your videos? Tell me how it works. What's involved? What's the timeline for you?
Okay, so the timeline for me, right, essentially because I do both of these separately. Now, again, the idea of the channels I talked about earlier was to help gain business, which kind of going back to what Brad said, up here it's the same thing in the spring and fall. No one really cares who mows their lawn as long as it gets done. But at the same time, when you're the guy with social proof around here, at least in my subdivision, we have more older people who are on Facebook and stuff. They tend to go toward you. But anyway, I digress from that. So the way it works for me is I do the lawn care business. I mow 5 days a week. That's 7 to 8 lawns a day for me. So we're at about 37 total now. And then what I have to do is twice out of my week, and this is just my channel, by the way. There's other channels that I make content for as well, but we're not going to dive into that because it's pretty much the same thing. But here's how it would work for my channel. So what I would do is if I want to make a video about, say, mushrooms in the lawn, for example, or something, whatever, I write it down in my notebook, structure it down, and then from there, I get into recording the video. Like, hey, check that out. Look at my notes. I like to draw stuff, but anyway. I make some notes, I talk to the camera, record my video, bring it into my software, and I cut it how I ever so desire. Now, everyone who's a little intimidated when you see someone like me who's fancy with video style, photo style, all that stuff, it doesn't really need to be all that fancy. You see, this is what I tell a lot of people when I get invited to go to these like professional events is I tell them, hey, you know, guys, at this point in our life, we have the world at our fingertips right here. You can record, edit, and post a video on this, whether it's on YouTube or Instagram. Just pull out your phone, record something, throw it up there. You get some more social presence out of it. And at the end of the day, if you're trying to advertise in your neighborhood Facebook group or something, they're probably going to want to go with you 90% of the time because you're giving them that credibility and that social proof. So that's what I've come to find. That's what's working for us. And yeah, anyway, I know that was a little long of an answer, but that's how I go into making my videos.
Nope, that's fine. Living proof of social proof, I guess, right? I want to go to effort versus payoff. I know, Garrett, you said you're monetized. You guys don't have to talk specific numbers, but when you get into this content creation, what subscriptions, what's the point you actually start making on a YouTube creator channel? Actually start pulling in some sort of money. Brad, go ahead.
So you broke up during some of that, so I didn't get, I think I got the gist of it though. I think it's going to be different for every person. At least for me, well, what would be different is the amount of money coming in where you say, yes, this is worth it. When I hit 50,000 subscribers, which I think was like a year or so ago, I did a video where I said, if I wasn't, some people say, you know what, I'd make videos no matter what, because I just love making videos. Unfortunately, that's not me. Like Jake said, these things take a ton of time to edit, to film. They take a lot of time away from my family, away from the business. Now I'm only part-time, so I have that time to spare. But the point is, for me, I have to see a return, whether that's, you know, AdSense revenue or the subscriber count going up or people just watching. That's my personality. That's Brad, who that's the criteria I have. I can say if you're wanting to start a YouTube channel and those are your goals, be prepared to slug it out for a very long time. Because when I started, there were relatively few people doing this. Now, there's got to be at least 300 lawn care channels on YouTube, at least. And if you look at a lot of them, what you'll see is that unfortunately, many of them are dead channels. It was somebody who got real excited. They made a dozen or so videos over a season, and you know they haven't uploaded in 2 years or something. So I still think you can do it. And if you want to, you absolutely should. Just be prepared for the fact that it could be a little bit of a slog before you get to wherever you say, yes, this is worth it.
Seen any on your 20, have you seen that threshold of when you were like, all right, now I'm starting to make coin, or I'm starting to get companies that reach out to me, I'm going to produce content? Or was it more of like passion hobby than maybe, you know, the little check lit a fire under your ass to really produce more?
I'll take this one. So kind of going back to what you were saying, is it like, yeah, am I making a sufficient amount of money? Yeah, at a certain point, you look at it and you're like, whoa, all these companies are reaching out to me, which is awesome. However, that's something I also think for a lot of newcomers, it's something you need to be very, very careful about, you see, because oftentimes what'll happen to a lot of young, new creators out there, even older creators for that matter, is once you hit a certain threshold on a platform like YouTube, you're going to start getting these multi-party companies or studios, whatever, that try to reach out to you and say that, hey, we manage small channels, when in reality, what they'll do is they'll take advantage of you and take your money. So essentially, yes, it's good to get recognized. It's good to get the brand deals. But I also think if that's what you're in it for, you're probably not in it for the right reasons. It's good to be in it, right, and get that stuff in return. But at the same time, don't let that verify why you're doing it, as not every brand reaching out to you is legit, right? Of course, it's a good idea to maybe reach out to somebody in your family who's, familiar with these types of issues and conversations to help verify if it's legit or not. But yeah, essentially what I'm just trying to say is be careful. Be careful. There are creeps out there that will take your money.
And that's good info. I mean, my perspective on it is, when I came into the user advisory group, YouTube in the lawn care world and landscape world was kind of blowing up. And to me, it seemed more of a money grab than anything. And, we were chatting beforehand where I said, you guys seem to have like your own little critique and vibe about your channels, where there's a lot of recycled bullshit out there. What I mean by the recycled bull is that you see the guys going for the money grab and they're just constantly throwing the same thing out there, whether it's business advice. The tool reviews are a little different, but a lot of guys were giving business advice and there was no legitimacy towards it, or there was no end result towards it. So in context, you're just chasing the same channels over and over, and I like that piece of advice, because that's where I think a lot of guys will go in and just try to copycat what this guy that has 200,000 subscribers is saying to this guy. Mark, you mentioned a few minutes ago partnership with Home Depot, or you work with Home Depot. I know that a lot of the times I'm looking at the Milwaukee tools, the DeWalt tools, I go right to your Instagram channel and try to search it up, YouTube channel, and try to search it up. How did you get hooked up with YouTube and doing all the reviews?
That was really a thing of being at the right place at the right time. I've always, being a home builder, have a lot of passion for like doing some woodworking and just a lot of like home remodeling, trim work, and running tools. And I would go all over Michigan, and sometimes if I'm working like 2 hours away and I forget something that's not worth me sometimes going back home, so it seemed like I'm often running into Home Depot for like some small things. So I've always definitely liked Home Depot. Like, happened to hear, I'm part of the maker community and follow a group of those people, and there was a event, the first time event called Workbench Con, and it was in Atlanta like 3 years ago or 4 years ago. So I went to that in February, and Home Depot was the key sponsor. And after one of the talks that I went to, the marketing team was there, and I just gave my business card and said I have a Tool Review Tuesday channel or episode that I do, and wonder if I could give you my business card to be considered to work with you guys. And then like a month later, I got an email from them, and they invited me into the program, and it's a one year at a time contract. So I've been doing it for 3 years now, and really it's definitely a lot of work, but I definitely really enjoy it. I've been around tools all the time, and it's something I can just easily talk about and don't have to do a lot of research. It's something I'm very familiar with. So it's something, that really helped my channel grow by just being able to get some awesome things to show to my audience.
Nice. I want to just jump into a couple questions for you guys in the comments. The Cutting Force Lawn Services was saying, I can't get subs like others. The whole thing seems rigged. Is there a sort of like, I'm going to use the term, like Facebook, people to come view your videos? Is there an algorithm that you can set up? I'll let you guys chime into that. Feel free to just jump in there.
Yeah, I'll go
Can I
ahead.
just-
Go ahead.
Mark, you got it.
I just was going to say quickly. Okay, I was just going to say quickly. I don't see that it's like across the board from January to December being the same. I think there's like right now, a lot of people are outside. They're not really watching the videos, but in December, then that's where I see some growth. When COVID hit, I was looking at my numbers, my analytics, things were pretty high at that time. And then this year things are definitely lower. So there's highs and lows throughout the year. So I think sometimes you just have to keep your head down and just go through it. And, eventually you'll get some numbers, but there's always going to be people higher. There's always going to be people lower. And sometimes when you're comparing yourself to the ones that are really getting the high numbers, it can be discouraging. So I recommend just enjoy what you're doing, respond to as many comments as you can, and just keep moving forward with it, with keeping your head down, not getting too concerned with the numbers.
Absolutely. And to add to what Mike was saying, it kind of goes back to what I said a couple of minutes ago. If you're watching those numbers, in my opinion, I don't think you're doing it for the right reasons. Again, kind of like what Brad said, and I agree with what Brad's saying about putting in the hard work and the return. But keep in mind, like we were talking about a couple minutes ago as well, you're going to have to drag it out for a very long time, and then eventually those rewards will come. So just know that what you're doing is not for nothing, as everybody's channels are different, right? Some people grow fast overnight. Some people grow a little slower. Some people grow a little more steady, right? It all depends on the channel and the content that's being uploaded to that channel and what people find appealing and what they don't. Because really, at the end of the day, that's really what it is. It's someone's opinion. So while it may seem that your video is not in much of the popular opinion nowadays, just know that that's not the case for the future, and that there is a chance out of it. Just keep your head down and keep going. That's what I would say.
I think Keith Kelpa said one time, the intent of your content will determine the outcome of it. So like be intentional with it. And if your only intention is to get a bunch of views and subscribers, you're probably never going to get a bunch of views or subscribers.
That's right. You have to make good content.
One thing that kind of just, I was going to say, one thing that I get discouraged about is when I first upload a video, I'll just see like in the first 24 hours or 48 hours, it's just really flat. But that doesn't mean 6 months from now, a lot of times those videos that have done really well have started out really flat like that. So I see other people in the first day, they just get huge numbers. So that's something else too, I'd say, just not to be too concerned with, because YouTube often shows your videos at a later date, starts recommending you.
Jump in there.
Yeah, I think both of what Mark and Jake said is true for me as well, that older videos can just out of nowhere perform very well. So there is some aspect of just, sow your seeds and hopefully at some point in the future they pop up. The other thing too is to consider, like, if I was starting my channel out today and 4 years from now, do I think I would have the same success? I don't, because timing was a big part of why I had my huge growth, because I was one of the few people, if one of the only, who was regularly doing that oddly satisfying, the thing that people who are mowing lawns don't really care about, but the odd person, when YouTube shows it to them, is going to say, oh yeah, oh wow, that's pretty cool. Now everybody's doing that, right? Because I think myself and a few of the other channels who were doing it before me have proven that is viable. But now if you search overgrown lawns, there's a couple of really big channels who they have taken it a step further, and they're adding a really interesting story. So they're doing it for free, and they're doing it for people with cancer or for single moms. And that's the kind of stuff that goes crazy. And by the way, I'm not faulting them, or if I had the idea, I would do the same thing. I think what they're doing is very smart, because whereas I would only, the overgrown lawns I do, 90% of them are ones that would be people who called up and say, hey, I need a lawn cut. These fellas are actually driving 2-3 hours. They're driving all around town to find these properties that they can mow and make a lot. So that's kind of a tangent. I'm like Jake, I get off on tangents. But the point is, if you're doing your best and you're still not seeing a lot of growth, and you're comparing it to, Brad gets a lot of you. keep in mind that if I had to start off the same time as you right now, I probably wouldn't be as successful as I am. A lot of my success is just because I was first or one of the first.
Quick question. How'd you land the insurance commercial? They pop up and I started clapping. I said, all right.
Yeah. So for everybody who doesn't know what he's talking about, I had Next Insurance, which is a general liability insurance company. Somebody who works with them, like a contractor who helps with their marketing, they reached out to me and said, hey, we've got this client who's doing this thing we're interested in. So they found me, but that was pretty neat. So now I'll get people teasing me. They send me screenshots of my face on their Facebook stream or their Instagram stream. And they're like, hey, I see you selling insurance again today.
Chris, that's going to be the cover of it, is you on that mower. Garrett, I got a question for you. I see the snow removal in the back on your sign there. For me personally, I would pull out if I have to watch someone cut. I could watch a video. I know a lot of the guys local that I talk to, you know, they don't do much YouTube, but when they do, they see a spike with the snow plowing videos. Now, personally, I think I found you. I think I was searching for, I don't know if it was Cage or Snow Wolf or something. I was looking and you popped up. Do you see with snow YouTube? Garrett, you're on mute. I usually do that.
You cut out a second for around. Do I see a what from YouTube and plowing? You kind of breaking out.
You see a spike in your viewership when you for the snow, whether it's bobcat work, plowing, anything like that.
Yeah, I seen that. For some reason, my snow videos always just seem to do really good. I kind of just started making videos on plowing, just because I thought the same thing. I thought that was fun, and it's fun to look back at you know, like every year as you progress, the accounts you're doing, the equipment you're using. It seems like for some reason everyone likes my snow videos. It's probably because they're all at home and have nothing better to do. but I feel like people like he was like Mark was saying, in December, January, February, people spend way more time sitting at home, you know, watching YouTube than the summer. They're out doing outdoor activities. So I feel like, yeah, my snow videos have always done really good and been a hit.
Question for the whole panel. I know there's a on YouTube, and a lot of people are opinionated, and I think you guys are past that threshold where it wouldn't really affect you as much. I could be wrong, but for a newcomer that's coming up in that YouTube game, and they're just getting it from every end, like what piece of advice to try to avoid that? Like, you guys do reviews, you guys do you show your work online, and that can affect you. Jake, go ahead, buddy.
Don't listen to the commenters. Just be you. Everyone's going to disagree with you at the end of the day, right? Can't please everybody. That's how we run our businesses too, right? We cut grass, we do landscaping, whatever. We can't please every single client. It's the same on YouTube. Not everyone's going to agree with you. So at the end of the day, I would just ignore them.
Yeah, I would say
nothing.
Yeah, I'd say just be genuine too. Like, people can tell if you're trying to fake it, if you're trying to look like this or that, something you're not. Yeah. I would just say be down to earth, be genuine, be real, and people will see that and appreciate it and, like, you know, want to watch more.
Just be you. It's kind of corny and generic, but just be you.
Yeah. No, definitely. I get it. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I was a little bit shocked, like when I first started out making some videos, and that first video that did really well, and people were commenting, oh, that excavator doesn't know what he's doing. It was somebody that I hired out, and this guy, he was really like a top-notch guy, and I was getting all these comments that I'm starting to like second guess, oh, is this guy, what are they seeing? But then I started to realize that they're not always that valid when you see these comments, to not let it get to you. And I can think of a story where someone I know in the lawn care industry, he was dealing with cancer. He made a video and saying how he's cancer free now, and he was very excited about that, to announce that. And then a few days later, he looked and there's like a couple of people that gave it a thumbs down. And he's like, what? Why would somebody give my video a thumbs down on that? So it just shows that, you just can't really, I think you just have to have thick skin to that and just ignore it. It's just some odd things out there, but I used to let it get to me, but sometimes now I just find it pretty funny laughing at, the different things.
Don't ever take.
And then also YouTube is, I was going to just say YouTube is also giving the,
It's kind of laggy. I was saying that, don't ever take criticism from someone you wouldn't take advice from.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Sorry, guys. I think the connection's a little laggy. I think we're dealing with AOL dial-up on this thing or something. So, if I wanted to start a YouTube channel tomorrow, do I need fancy camera, fancy editing software? Like, can I start up with my phone and like a simple iMovies app?
Yes. Use your phone. Start with your phone and then build up from there. Or you could be the YouTuber with your phone who makes really good videos, because if you have an iPhone equipped with iMovie, you could do so much with that a lot of people would just overlook, right? It's all about the knowledge and the know-how of the software and the cameras that you're using, not what you're using. You can make good videos with pretty much anything nowadays. Again, just keep your story, be you, be genuine, and people will watch. That's what I've come to find.
You looking to chime in?
I was going to say, with my iPhone, I recently picked up a pretty cheap mic. It's a Rode mic, and it has a lavalier that clips onto you, and it has a wind thing. So the audio is probably where I would start if I was looking to improve something before my cameras, because your phone is good, but my iPhone doesn't do very well in the wind. So I would start with audio and then go up from there.
Can I add to that, Mark?
My pet peeve is hearing a lot of wind noise. Yeah. Yep.
So one of the things I would recommend to a lot of people that is a little more budget friendly and less intimidating, not that that's not a bad idea, definitely invest in a mic eventually, but when you're just starting out, just be smart about where you're recording, right? You obviously don't want to go outside and film when there's 60-mile-an-hour winds and a tornado behind you, right? So just when you're going to film like little segments for your video, just do it in an area where there's little to no wind, and then you shouldn't experience any of those problems. So in the beginning, just be very smart about where you are, and then that way you won't have to worry about that.
Brad, jump in.
So the other thing about audio, that's if you don't want to spend any money starting out, that's fine. The issue that I also see even more than wind is people just not realizing how far away their camera will pick something up, or their phone. So they're way farther away than they should be. Somebody else is holding it, and it's very low levels, which you can adjust in editing. You just have to be aware of it. But one thing I would say, you've got to find $20 and get a tripod with a little cell phone holder. If you look at the level of production quality that you will get for that 20, it's enough that I would say, no, you definitely need a tripod. The other thing you can do too is when you look at videos that you like, ask yourself, is this person using a tripod, or are they just holding it with their hand? And are you getting a jumpy POV of cutting tall grass, or are they setting a tripod up far away, and that kind of thing? That's the only thing I would say is borderline mandatory. If you don't care about the quality, yes, just start using your phone. If you want to start off making the best thing you can for the least amount of money, I would say a tripod is something you want to spend $20 on.
Okay. Hey, Brad, real quick, with the following you have on YouTube, for someone wanting to make content and keep the attention of a magic that you should try to keep your videos to?
So one of the main things I try and do now is at least 8 minutes, because if it's 8 minutes, YouTube will put mid-roll ads. So they could get an ad when they pull that video up. If they watch the whole thing, they could get an ad at the end. But then there are also, if it's at least 8 minutes, there'll be a video somewhere in between there. If you're not in the YouTube partner program yet, because you're just starting out, I don't think that really matters to you. But generally what I find is shorter, again, generally shorter is better. people don't have a ton of attention span. You know, you think about those little things on Facebook as you're scrolling through Crafty Panda and the guy's building a gazebo that probably took him 20 hours, but you're watching it in 2 minutes. That's coming from my angle of somebody who mainly shows the work. That information or that advice is probably not as sound if you're like Jake, where you're explaining things, and like Mark, where you're doing product reviews. So take it with a grain of salt.
Well said. Very well said.
Mark,
hey
Mark, when someone a tool review, now I know I have trouble doing this with means business products sometimes. Are there certain mark points I to really emphasize whether on a gas or area? There's certain things that you just dial in on to show people.
Some of that was cutting out, but I think I heard enough what you were saying. A lot of times I like to see what some comments are, like on the Home Depot website, where people are saying like where they've seen it excel or where they've seen it lacking. So I just try to find some type of material, if it's steel I'm cutting or wood or drilling or concrete, just trying to find a way to put it to the test as much as possible so you can see, you know, if it's right for you and if you're looking to buy it. So I really just try to put it through all the things that that I see that they're concerned with, or like what the key advertising is on it. If they say you're going to get so much runtime, then I like to see how long it's going to run for me. Did I answer your question?
No, definitely. I always had trouble. You know, I feel like I go into too much on the review, and like with Brad's point, always went over that 8-minute mark, trying to be so intricate on every little piece of the tool that it would just be a run on, and I would lose attention from people. So I like the point. Piggybacks with Brad's point. Quick question for Jake and Garrett,
Yep.
just because you guys are the two. Go ahead, Mark. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to follow up. I just wanted to say, just when Brad was mentioning like 8 minutes, that's probably my ideal time, but sometimes it's just really hard. You put all this work in, and then you're like, but I have to show that because I worked so hard to get that content. But a lot of times I like to, I'll work kind of late into the night editing, and then I'll come back the next morning and look at it with some fresh eyes. I'm like, that really didn't add. I can cut this whole 30 seconds out. So sometimes I'd recommend not just sticking it out and in one session, sometimes looking at it with some fresh eyes again, and you might realize like, hey, that's really not needed. So I still go over 10 minutes sometimes, but my goal is to be between like 8 and 9.5 if I can.
How much actual film time goes into producing that 8 minutes?
Sometimes it can be 4 to 6 hours, just off and on different things, setting up. I do some building projects too, and sometimes those take like 2 or 3 days because you're waiting for glue to dry and things like that. So this year I've actually been doing a little bit more projects and mixing in with tool reviews. I've been trying to work some of that in as well. So the projects definitely, like home repairs and things, those definitely take a lot longer. Just because you're always setting up. Like I rebuilt the front door on my house, and it took a lot of time because you're always setting up, and then sometimes I have to bring some lighting in, and so that's the struggle. That it's always a lot of footage that has to get shrunk down.
That's a lot of film for 4 to 6 hours for the 8 minutes. Is that typical through all you guys? You're typically putting in like almost a half a day's worth of work to edit down to get your videos?
Sometimes 4 days.
Wow. Brad, that's what you too? You're putting in?
So mine's, again, a little different because the bulk of what I do is show the work. So when I'm at a job, I can easily add 1 to 2 hours in the amount of camera work. And sometimes I have to do things in a way that is not as efficient because I'm trying to film it. I get tons of people who are like, why don't you ever do stripes? Well, it's because if I just set the camera up and did long back and forth stripes, it wouldn't be interactive. So I like cut in little squares. So I'll cut this little piece, move the camera for another angle, cut that little piece, move the camera. On my pressure washing stuff, that takes a lot of editing time because I'll have a 3-hour job on high quality that then I have to render down 4 times, and that can take an hour or two. Then I have to render that down 16 times, and so there can be a lot of times. But again, for me, it's just a little different because I film the work rather than like do real. But yeah, the times I try and do some kind of teaching, it takes a lot of time because you got to do your research. I have to do several takes of where I said that like an idiot. I need to reword that. They can take a lot of time.
No, he's exactly right.
I was going to mention sometimes I'll have like a GoPro camera, and then I have another smaller point and shoot camera, and then my DSLR. So if you're doing the same thing with 3 cameras, that's like 3 times the amount of footage. So that's how you can easily get the hours of footage, because you might be doing more than just 1 camera too. And then my phone.
It's absolutely right. Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, if you're just starting out, I would just film on 1 camera. And then if you want to get all technical with that, like edit it on a computer where you can sync the audio spikes together, that's for more of an advanced way to do it. But other than that, I'd film with 1 camera. That'll cut down on your editing time for sure.
What I know we touched base on it earlier, but I'm going to go back to you. What was the timeline between when you started your channel and you actually saw the viewership go up, like 6 months, a year before you actually saw that influx go up in your
Who we talking to here?
You cut out right when you said the person's name. I heard everything except who you asked.
We're dealing with the storm right now, so I'm sorry, guys. I'm asking Brad, just with it. I mean, with the amount of subscribers, I just want to see what your threshold was, or when you really started to see that jump. Like, were you at the point where it was like, dude, like, forget this. It's 2 years into it. I'm devoting 4 hours for an 8-minute video. I'm done. And then spike, like you had that magic video that set you off.
So that's the other thing about me that is not going to be characteristic of many people who've been doing this. I started in April of 2017. In August, I had this 3-foot tall grass yard that I filmed and put on. So within, like 3 or 4 months, that video exploded, and that started everything to where I said, now I see the light. Tall grass mowing is what I'm going to do. And everything just kept going from there. So I was very fortunate because I did not have to wait long before I saw that payoff in a very big way, especially compared to some guys who have been doing it a lot longer, simply because, and it's interesting too, because I know some people don't like just doing the tall grass over and over, but I'm somebody who doesn't have a problem with, if that's what's popular and if that's what I can do and if that's what I can show, I'll chase that for as long as it's viable. But that's kind of how I got my start. I was fortunate that I did not have to wait long at all. I don't think I would have gone 2 years doing this if I didn't have any kind of, because again, I had some resistance from my wife is very supportive, but I had a long string of kind of crackpot ideas before I started the lawn care business and the YouTube channel. So completely valid to her. It was kind of like, all right, let's see how long this lasts for. So again, if it took me a long time, I would have been like, no, this is dumb.
Garrett, I'm going to ask this one to you just because you're in the construction industry. I know with COVID, a lot of people were in home and they were projections, patios, excavation, and a lot of guys started to elevate from lawn care to hardscaping. From your YouTube channel, did you have people reaching out almost like in a mentor aspect, like asking for advice, asking to elaborate on some of your videos? Like, how did that draw any attention to you from like newbies going into the hardscaping part of it?
Yeah, to be honest, I get a pretty steady flow, like from Instagram. Some days, like today, I wasn't on Instagram a whole lot. I was in meetings all morning, and I went to the job, made a bunch of stories, and I wasn't really on it since. But I kind of get a steady flow of questions from Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. People email me, call me. It seems like I get a pretty steady flow of people just starting out, asking. We're kind of getting known for boulder walls. We do a ton of boulder walls. That's why I like making videos, but we do a lot of other stuff, but I don't really post about it a lot. But I get a lot of questions kind of consistently throughout pretty much every day. Sometimes it's 2 or 3, sometimes it's 15, but it's kind of just steady all the way through. Through COVID, I think my channel seemed to be doing okay. It seemed like for us in our area anyway, here in central Minnesota, the workflow really didn't slow down at all. We were just as busy as ever, had the best year ever. I mean, it was workflow and everything was good. It didn't really affect us a whole lot, to be honest.
What's your favorite content?
What's that?
What's your favorite content to produce out of all the services you offer?
Yeah, probably like I like doing time lapse, like do boulder walls, and then probably plowing. Plowing is fun. It's easy for me to jump out of the truck, set a GoPro up, or jump out of the truck and film the guys working. Like, just keep doing what you're doing and pretending I'm not here. So probably plowing videos, and I have more time to edit in the winter, or doing like a before and after, start to finish, with like a boulder wall, tearing out an old one, building a new one. I don't know, I like it all.
Nice. Now, do you guys get noticed in public for people that aren't even in the industry? Like
I did recently. I was out with Alan Hain, the lawn care nut. He was up here in Indiana. We were hanging out, catching up for a couple hours or so on 4th of July here. We went out to a brand new breakfast place, and out of nowhere, I have some 22-year-old waitress walk up to me and be like, "Hey, do you do YouTube?" I'm like, "Yes, I do." They're like, "Is it in the lawn care space?" I'm like, "Yes, it is." They're like, "My boyfriend watches your videos." That's cool. I get that. I get those interactions maybe once every year or so. So it's cool to see the local region town recognizing the content we're putting out.
I get more recognized by people that are searching for something, and they see me and they're like, "Oh my gosh, Mark, I can't believe that's you making that video. I didn't know that you did that," or something. So I'll run to people in the grocery store and they're like, "Oh yeah, I see your channel," but I would never know unless they stopped and, I ran into them. They told me. So it's just kind of, it's a small world, just different people. Somebody was cleaning their gutters and they were looking for a backpack blower and they found my video.
Brad, how many insurance policies have you sold this year? I know you.
I don't know.
Poor Brad.
They probably don't tell
Insurance
me
kid.
that, because they'd have to come back and pay me some more money if I ended up selling a whole bunch of them.
Let me ask you guys a serious question. For a company to spend the time and the effort in making videos for their company, whether they're trying to showcase hardscaping, lawn mowing, irrigation, YouTube a good platform to try to expand your business and get reach from customers, where you can almost interact with people, seeing visually how you work, how you lay down like a paver base, or how you cut a lawn, or what goes into your business. Do you think it's worth the investment and the time for a business owner to put time and effort into YouTube?
Surprisingly, I think the answer to that would be yes and no. You see, as I said earlier, if you want to get a couple videos out there explaining your services that are searchable for local people, that's great. Something you could pin on your website. But as far as using YouTube alone to gain customers, kind of going back to what Brad was saying, not necessarily the biggest return as far as local customers go, but you will gain a fan base at some point in time for sure. What I would say is, if you're looking to gain more people in your neighborhood, because depending on where you're at, it could be different. But what I would say for most people is get on your neighborhood Facebook group. That's a great place to advertise your services and become familiar with existing neighbors and new neighbors that are moving in. And then eventually you get to a point where you've marketed your business and your services long enough. They see your trucks around that they start marketing for you. Like, they'll be putting posts out there left and right saying, "Hey, who's that lawn kid down the street?" And then you'll get like 8 comments that say, "Oh, Jake, we love him. You should go with Jake. Here's his number," right? You'll get people doing that for you with time and time again as you start putting the word out there in those local neighborhood forums. So that's where I'd say my biggest return would come from for mowing grass and doing bushes and all that kind of stuff.
Brad, go ahead.
I would say if you wanted to start a YouTube channel, the eventual goals would be, where it would make sense for the time you're going to have to invest, is if you wanted to get an income from it And that's what you see with a lot of the guys who have been doing this a long time. And again, I'm not saying anything bad about them, but if you look at all the people who have higher numbers who've been doing it, a lot of them are selling courses. They're selling, business packages where they'll help you with things. There's some income component to it. I can almost guarantee you if they weren't making money off it, they wouldn't have been doing it this long. And I'm not trying to say anything bad, because that's the same thing with me. If I wasn't making revenue off of these videos from people just watching them, I wouldn't be doing it. So that's one thing. If you want to try and build a following to where companies will send you equipment, that can be kind of fun if you want to do that. Or if you just really love the whole process and you are somebody who doesn't care about the views. You like filming, you like editing, you like interacting with the lawn care community. But again, I think I agree with Jake that if you're looking to grow your immediate business in your little 5-mile bubble, there's a lot of better ways to invest your time and money. But again, if you want to do it just because you want to, you should try. Right. That's, it's, yeah.
I'm going to piggyback off of Brad real quick, because I think that's kind of where my comes in with YouTube and lawn care and landscape companies. So I've always heard that you can't be a successful YouTuber and be a full-time landscape successful business owner, and vice versa. Brad, a lot of people failed, and they build a following, and they're in business for 3 or 4 years, all of a sudden they're offering courses on how to run a business. That's where I come with the recycled. That I don't feel like YouTube is enough to prove to me that you know what you're doing. You're a great marketer, and I think that's what YouTube's good for. You basically showcase your services, like Jake was saying, and you get that little bit. To me, it was always a landscaper to landscaper. I was never advertising to my customers. That's really why I didn't get into it. Like the tool reviews, what Mark does, I get that. And there's even some guys with that where everything's great. No one will tell you it's trash. I like Mark's channel because he doesn't necessarily tell you to buy it or not to buy it, but he gives you all his points in perspective. I reached out to Mark, I think 5 months. He gave me a specific model. I was able to look that model up on YouTube and see that you have the exact same power washer, Brad, and I went with that. That's how I use YouTube, but I feel like a lot of younger guys, younger generations fall prey to these academies and these guys that want to give advice. You guys know a lot more about than I do about this. Like, are there to watch out for when you have content creators that Brad, I want to let you go first because I'm very specific when you're giving advice based off where their entities set up. So Brad, can you lead off?
So you again, you jumped out a little bit, but I think I got the gist. You're absolutely right that there's a lot of people who do that kind of business thing. My personal viewpoint is I don't care if they do it. I'm never going to do it because just like you said, I don't feel like I have enough business experience to tell others. That's one thing. That's why most of my channel is just me doing work, because I'm not advising you how to do something. I'm just showing you how to do it. At the end of the day, you don't like me, you do, that's fine. But I'm not really saying anything wrong. I'm just showing you the work. Now, people still take issue with the way I do the work, but that's why I don't do a whole lot of how-tos, because I don't feel like I am an authority. The second point why I don't do that is because I don't feel like anybody who wants to educate themselves on how to do these things needs to pay anybody for it. So again, I have no problem with guys selling, templates for door hangers or, contracts. But these are all things that I've been able to teach myself with no prior experience, just from sitting down in Vistaprint. They've got a free online editing tool, 30 minutes, and I've learned how to do it myself. But I get that there are people who say, I don't want to learn how to do it. I like Brad's personality. If he's got something, I just want to pay him and do it. So none of it to me is wrong, so much as it's not something that I feel comfortable doing. So I don't know if that answered some of your questions or not.
No, definitely. I want to hear Jake. I want to hear your opinion on that.
What was the question again? I'm so sorry.
What would be your advice or red flag out for someone that's using YouTube as like an educational purposes? Like we said, like you have guys that come into the content creative position, the following, and they kind of just information out there. They don't really give you an end game. There's people, and I'm not talking about the review space of tools or how I do my work, but more of like a business aspect. Like you're a young guy, you come on, you want to learn systems and processes. You have 10 people saying the same exact thing, but there's two flags to watch out. There's you were coming up before you were on to look for to help your business avoid watching certain channels.
Well, I wouldn't say I really can't speak on that necessarily, again, because of my age. I'm not all that experienced to tell you who to watch and who not to watch. But the least I could tell you is it's really up to you and how you like to get your information, right? A lot of people like to watch videos, or like Brad was saying, a lot of people like to teach themselves. That's kind of how I am with my business. I like to, learn something on YouTube in 2 minutes rather than buy a course, whereas someone else would rather do it the other way. So again, it would really be how you like to consume your information. Is it a blog? Is it YouTube? Whatever that is that helps you the most, that's where I would go. So that's what I would say to that.
Garrett, any chime in on that? Any flags to avoid from your aspect?
Yeah, I would just say, like, for instance, my videos, I'm not like huge on like, I don't ever come across as like, this is how it has to be done. This is how you need to do it. I just like to show kind of this is how we do it. This is why this works for us. Ultimately, you do what works for you. If you're down in, if you're down south, you don't have 3 saw cycles. You're not going to build anything like we do here. You're not going to have 6-foot, frost footings. So, I mean, it kind of just depends on your area. I would say be really careful of who you watch, who you take advice from. Make sure that that person is like in the place that you want to be, or that has the experience and knowledge that is has seen a lot, like to know that the person you're taking advice from actually knows. Like, yeah, some people can learn a lot. I mean, you can learn in 5 years what takes someone 20 years to learn, just by being really eager to learn and really doing your homework. So I wouldn't say that if this guy has 20 years experience, he definitely knows everything. I would say just really examine who you take advice from on how to build things, so that they're not calling you in a year, hey, this tipped over, fell over, and just check a whole bunch of sources and do what's right for your area.
Awesome. Well, guys, we got to wrap up. This live stream is going to be listened to on the podcast. You played on the Echo Means Business website. If you want to join the website, echomeansbusiness.com. You can download the app. I'm sure questions. I know this is a very popular subject. I'm going to ask a lot more, but we're going to wrap up. If you guys wouldn't mind, if you could just share your best handle for people to reach you at, if anybody wanted to maybe get some mentoring from you guys, or just get some basic advice about going on in the creative run they need to grow. So we'll go Brad, Garrett, Mark, and then Jake, and then we'll sign off.
You can email me at coppercreekcuts@gmail.com. That'll come right to me.
Probably the best way to get a hold of me, the quickest, would be through Instagram, just at GNM Outdoor Services. You can find us there, shoot us a DM. I do get back to basically everyone that DMs, usually within a day or so.
Sorry, part of it cut out, but I think I understood what you're asking. So I can be found Mark Thomas Builder at on YouTube and Instagram. MarkThomasBuilder.com is my website.
You can find me
a Facebook page.
Oh, sorry. Whenever you guys are ready. All right, you can find me. You can find me on YouTube, Jake the Lawn Kid, www.youtube.com/Jake the Lawn Kid, no caps, no spaces. The best way to get a hold of me is on Instagram in the DMs at Jake the Lawn Kid, no capitals, no spaces. And if anybody would like to email me with lawn advice, I know I have a lot of professional lawn guys looking to get their lawn in shape so that they can use that as a means to advertise to their clients to what they can do when they get a little bit further down the road with mowing, fertilizing, all that type of stuff. You can email me, sullivanjacob68@gmail.com. And I do plan on building a legit email address soon, but that's my email that I have available for help.
Awesome. Thank you guys for coming on. For anybody that's listening to this, Feel free to reach out to any of these guys. Make sure you sign up for the app. Make sure you sign up for Echo Means Business. I don't have my script in front of me, so I don't know what the next live panel is about. But make sure you share this out. And if you're following Echo Means Business, you'll find out. Guys, thank you so much for coming on. Have a nice night.